So Denise, there's this whole discussion of convergence of digital and linear into sort of an integrated offering for advertisers, and in terms of maximizing the inventory across screens. Where does that stand now?
Sure. So understanding the consumer is paramount. Making sure you understand how they like to interact with your content, where they like to interact with your content, and when. Right? So by being able to understand the consumer and how they take in your content, it allows you to really create an enjoyable viewer experience, and also to maximize the ad experience for the advertiser at the same time.
So tell us about some sort of how digital, and you have a background in digital, you're in linear, everything's kind of coming together. Tell us some of the sort of best practices of digital. Certainly targeting is part of it, but talk about some of the best practices or the heritage or the DNA of digital and how that's affecting the whole linear operations from a sales perspective in targeting.
Sure. So we're starting to see the lines between linear and digital blurring, right? Because you're not necessarily watching TV in the same ways that you used to. So when people are watching what we would consider to be television content, but on these different platforms, whether it be OTT or FEP, we're able to bring a lot of those digital capabilities to bear. And to your point, there's a lot of great capabilities that we can bring in, a lot of the targeting, a lot of the optimization, but there's also a lot that we can learn looking in the rearview mirror about what we've done in digital for the past 10 years to make sure we don't commit the same mistakes. Learning from things like how we address viewability, brand safety, consumer experience, right? So we're able to take all of those learnings from digital, apply the good ones, and learn from the bad ones.
So tell us a little bit about OTT. That's become a big deal. We read increasingly a certain lack of data and a bit of a missing link. Tell us about the vitality and the opportunities around OTT and how you guys see it.
Sure, I think OTT is one of the most underleveraged opportunities in the ecosystem today. So anywhere there's a lack of data, it's fixable. Right, so I think from one perspective, the OTT partners that we work with, we need to start understanding how we can access that data. But the most important part is how do you link all of that data together? Because as the consumer experience fragments, whether it's OTT or through our own capabilities or set-top boxes, we have to figure out how we understand the holistic consumer experience so that we can tie it together and make them feel as though they're having one experience with NBCUniversal and not many different experiences through the different platforms that they access our content.
So Denise, let's talk about ad experience and sort of how that, your thoughts about that, consumer choice, the opportunities with targeting, the opportunities with technology and ad serving. Tell us about ad experience.
Sure, ad experience is incredibly important. People, their expectations of viewing content are different. They expect to have the content when they want it, where they want it, and they're not used to having their content interrupted anymore, right? Because the digital experience is different. You might see a pre-roll or you might see an ad at the end of the experience, and when you're on a website, it's just around the periphery, right? So we need to figure out how to take the experience that we've had with advertising in traditional TV and change that in a way that is still allowing us to monetize advertising the way the advertisers need and expect it, because obviously and that's what pays for content, but in a way that's respectful of the consumer's engagement and time that they're spending with us.
So how might that shake out in terms of ad load or, ad choice or specific ads served to people? What might be the future of the ad experience?
Sure, so I think there's a few things. So at NBCUniversal, we've been working on the ad experience project for quite some time and understanding what ad loads means. There's been reductions in certain advertising experiences, but there's also the opportunity to make the ad experience more enjoyable, right? If people feel as though the advertising is valuable to them, interesting to them, and part of the overall experience, it doesn't become a problem anymore. Now it's enjoyable. Many people buy magazines, for example, because they like looking at all the fashion ads, et cetera. So when we know enough about the consumer, and this is part of what we're doing with the Audience Studio, where we can make sure they're getting advertisements that are relevant to them, it changes the whole dynamic.
Cool. And how is that being perceived by the buy side and by the creative community in terms of, changing advertising, or tell us a little bit about that.
I think it is, and as we've seen in our recent upfront, our industry partners are really leaning into what we're doing with our data products, and we've seen our data products triple in this past upfront. So I do think that they're leaning in. I think that will continue to grow as we develop more and more ways to partner with our advertisers and with the agencies with data. How do we combine the data sources they have and we have, and how do we enrich each other's data to create that best experience for the viewer?
Cool, and it's been a good upfront. Tell us, you guys did really, really well. Give us some of your thoughts about the success and maybe some components of that success.
Sure. So as Steve Burke said, he believes it's our greatest upfront ever. We're going to be talking more about that over the coming weeks, so you'll see more in the press. But as I said, we've seen our data products triple, at least triple in the past upfront. So for us, I think it's a big testament to the investment that we've made in our data and the Audience Studio, and also it gives us all the confidence in the world to keep developing our roadmap and our data products moving forward.